Hey guys, Joe here, bringing you another vlog. This time I think I'm going to be talking about a subject that is actually really important to me, something that really gets me deep to my core. I know I'm kind of jumping right into it right now. I know I haven't uploaded in a long time, which I am truly sorry about if you watch my things, but it just been busy. But here I am now, and I have a subject that I actually really want to talk about. So I guess I'll just dive right into it. This is something that's really, you know, apparent in our society, and it's something that really, affects me. It's something that I'm really invested in. It's something that I really love, and it's a genre of movie, of course, horror movies. Not only horror movies, but horror as a genre, but in specific, horror movies as of now. And I kind of want to talk about just as a broad spectrum, in general, and kind of just rant about them because that's generally what these things are. They're, or at least for me, they're me ranting about things or going on about things without really any direction other than what I think about them. Oh my God, my voice just cracked. Um, but yeah, so horror movies, horror genre, but yeah, so I don't know. Horror movies have always really held something like held something in me. I've always loved horror movies ever since I was a little kid. And the weird thing is, horror movies really scare me. It's not like I'm one of those people who I can watch it. I'm I'm more resistant to it than most people are, but I can still watch a horror movie and go like, holy shit. I know people who can watch horror movies and just not be scared, and they're just like, oh yeah, that's not scary. That's not scary. I watch a horror movie and I legitimately get, you know, frightened and terrified, but I like it and I think it's really interesting. And I like monsters and I like ghosts and I like if they can do it successfully. I guess one of the things that I was thinking about when I was going into this is that a lot of horror movies aren't successful because they fall into stupid, pratfalls and trap holes that they really shouldn't be going into. Um, you know, I think one of the biggest, mistakes that filmmakers make with regards to horror movies is that gore is scary. Gore isn't necessarily scary. Gore can be unsettling and gore can be disturbing, but gore isn't scary in and of itself. What makes it scary is the circumstances surrounding the gore. A lot of horror movies just have gore and they go like, "Gore, that's scary." And you're like, "No, it's not." At least that's what I think. When I see gore in a movie, I go, gore. Okay, there's blood. I don't. I mean, I like gory movies. I think they're cool, but I don't get scared by them. There's a difference between a scary movie and a cool movie as well. Monster movies are generally, I mean, if they're done right, they can be really scary, but they're generally more gore films than they are scary movies. But I like monster movies just because they're fun. But when people think a movie's gonna be scary just because it's gory, that is like, it just doesn't it's the wrong interpretation of it. The Saw movies, the Hostel movies, even there's this one, the Texas Chainsaw movie coming out, and it looks like they're doing is, at least from the trailer, that they're going to be relying on gore being scary. I mean, of course, the circumstances surrounding it are going to be frightening, but as for the most part, it looks like a lot of the scenes that they're setting up are just going to be good kill scenes to have gore go everywhere. And it's like, no, gore isn't scary. It's the suspense, the build up to the kill that scares people. And that no one can seem to grasp that. The What I'm really thankful for nowadays is that a lot of movies are finally, a lot of horror movies that I've seen recently are finally, getting that back and going, we need suspense in our movies to make these scary. Um, I saw Insidious a few years ago when that came out. That was a great scary movie. It was a stupid movie. It was horror. Like the story was so stupid, but it scared the crap out of me. It scared the hell out of me because the suspense was there. There's a scene where, I mean, how do I describe it? There's this family, and they like lock their door, and obviously it's a haunted house story. So, I mean, of course, it's, goes to the same tropes and stuff until the story starts getting really stupid. But there's just this scene where they're all like in bed, and then they hear their house alarm go off, and the dad's like, "What?" And he goes downstairs to check it, and he looks, and there's no one at the door, and the door is like just flung open, but no one's there. And so he closes it, and like first he hears a knock on the door. He goes down, checks, no one's there. He goes back upstairs. Then after he goes back upstairs, he hears the alarm on the door go off. He goes back down. The door's swung open. The alarm's going off, And after he had already checked outside and seen that no one was there, and he goes around the house, and it's just a terrifying scene. And I loved that scene. It scared the hell out of me. And that movie's stupid. I just saw the movie Sinister in October. That movie scared the hell out of me. There was so much good suspense. Again, they use disturbing imagery, but they use it. It feels disturbing, but they also make you don't want to see the disturbing imagery. That's why it's disturbing. If something's disturbing, you don't want to watch it. But the way they use it, they utilize it, is the imagery itself is kind of unsettling, and it's really unsettling. And the way they build it up is the really scary part. You're like sitting there, and something freaky is going to happen. Something disturbing and unsettling is going to happen. And you just sit there and let it build and build and build. And then it happens. You're like, oh my God, that was beautiful. That way they built suspense in that movie was amazing. And I loved that movie, even if the ending sucked. And so I feel like a lot of the problem that, modern filmmakers have when they make monster movies is they think that they don't understand that suspense is the thing in a movie that makes it scary. Older horror movies had suspense. All the classics do. That's why old 50s horror movies are still really scary now, because they build a suspense. They have characters that you like, and they have a creature, something that's threatening the characters, and they build up the tension, and you don't want these characters to die. And a lot of characters in movies now you hate. I hate a lot of characters in modern horror movies just because they're obnoxious or because they have no redeemable qualities. But when you like a character and you don't, and like they actually have a connection to you, or you feel a connection to them, you don't want them to die. And when they die, it sucks. Like in the movie Alien is one of my favorite movies ever. And they're characters, and they aren't necessarily developed well, or they don't have, very 3D personalities. But I liked every character. Even the jerky ones I liked. And they all had something about them that, drew me to them. And every time a character died, you're like, no, I don't want you to die. I don't want you to die. And it made the suspense of the characters getting, put through these situations even more so. And they actually use suspenseful situations, and they use tension to build up these situations that they're being put through. Because if they just showed the creature, it would just be falling flat on its face. If they just showed the creature killing people, it would just be blood and guts, and that's not necessarily scary in and of itself. It might be cool, but it's not scary. Another thing people do now is they explain too much, they show too much, and they reveal too much about why something's happening, or the creature, or who the person is. A lot of the fear and horror and terror in a horror movie is the mystery of it. The less you know about something, the more terrifying it is, because you can't explain it and you can't justify it. It's just a killing machine, or it's just something that's out to get you. That's why Alien was so good. You had no idea what it was. All you knew is that there was like this monster and attached to your face for no reason, and then an alien burst out of you. And all it did was want to kill you. It had no motivation other than it wanted to kill you. And I thought that was amazing. And they kept that throughout the entire series. And that creature is scary to this day. Predator 1 was just like that. Predator 2, I thought was really stupid. But at least they didn't, forego everything about the Predator. But they did screw up a lot. Just showing other Predators was stupid in and of itself. But then the Alien vs. Predator series came out, and the Predators are an ancient race from this other planet, and they came, and the aliens are a species that they developed to have as the perfect species to hunt. And it's like, I don't care. I just want to see the Predator kill things because the Predator's scary, and I want to see how these people get through the situation. And I love the Predator's technology, and I love the way he kills people, and I love how I love the situations that these people are put through, and that's why Predator 1 was scary, because you liked a lot of the soldiers in Predator, and you liked what they were going through, and when they died, you felt bad about it, but at the same time, you kind of admired the creature, but it was still really mysterious, and that's what made the creature scary, and that's what made the creature scary in Alien, and that's what made, that's what, Insidious, it's a really scary movie, but then the reason it sucks so bad is because as it gets through later in the movie, they start explaining everything. Oh, the kid is in an astral projection, and his soul is trapped in the spirit world, and you have to go to the spirit world to get the body back, and there's this demon, and there's blah blah blah. They didn't explain anything in the first half of the movie. You're just sitting there, you're like, this is really scary. There's shit going on that I can't explain, and that's inescapable. That is scary. When they start explaining everything and quantifying everything and giving everything a reason, you start reasoning it out yourself and coming up with logical conclusions and, coming up with ways you could solve the situation, which is what they do in the movie as well. And that isn't scary. If they could just, have a simple way to end it, that would be a nice, tight way to end the movie. But they didn't do that. They over-explained everything. They kind of did that in Sinister too. The monster is some demon who harvests people's souls, and it's like, just make it a ghost, Everyone knows what a ghost is. You don't have to over-explain a ghost. It's just a ghost. And ghosts are vengeful. That's all you have to have to make a movie scary is ghosts are vengeful. And when they start getting too complicated in their stories in horror movies, it starts getting less scary. Granted, Sinister and Insidious were still extremely scary because they did the horror really well. They did the suspense and the build-up to the scary scenes really, really well. And I just wish that they'd have more suspense in horror movies. They'd explain less in horror movies. And one thing that gets me so much with scary movies now is that they think that the apocalypse ending where everything turns out bad is a good ending. That is not a good ending. That does not make it a scarier movie. That just pisses me off. That just pisses everyone. I mean, anytime I see a movie where the ending is just, oh, we thought it was going to end good, but it all ended badly. That is the stupidest ending ever. I hate that. It worked in The Thing. But that's because The Thing was, a creature that was inescapable in and of itself. And the way they ended it was vague and mysterious. And you're like, I don't know if he's the Thing or if he isn't the Thing. He just might be a person. But you didn't know. At least that way you didn't have some quantified, some perfectly laid out, this is how it happened. But in Insidious or Sinister, you know that, I'm referring to these movies a lot because these are points of, branch out points for me, that they're something comfortable I can refer to. In Sinister, the ending is so dumb. Spoiler, if you haven't seen Sinister, this is a spoiler. They get away. They get away from the house that they think is haunted, and they think they're fine, and everything's perfect and hunky-dory. And then guess what? The daughter's possessed, and she goes and kills the entire family. And it's like, oops, gotcha! You thought you were going to be happy with the ending, but no, we got you. We put a shitty ending in there. And it's like, no, that's not scary. That's just stupid. Granted, the imagery for the scene was really freaky and disturbing and kind of scary. It was pretty scary, pretty damn scary. But it was just not a good way to end the movie. It just made me angry the way they ended that movie. And lots of movies do it nowadays. And Alien and Predator and Aliens all, had good endings where it's like, they killed the monster, everything's okay. Nope. Now movies don't want to do it that way. They have to have this stupid ending where everything turns out bad. As soon as Alien 3 came around, right in the 1990s, it's just the way the ending of it is Ripley dies. I don't want Ripley to die. I liked Ripley. They killed off every character from that franchise I liked in that one movie, and I hate that movie. It's so stupid. Just because they think that they're being frightening by having, bad things happen. It's not the bad things themselves. It's the way you portray the bad things and you build up the bad things. And making people die that you enjoy does not make a movie more scary. It just makes it more unpleasant, more, aggravating. The way they killed Newton Hicks in Alien 3 wasn't scary and it didn't have any emotional buildup. It was just they died. That's all that happened. And that is infuriating. And the reason that people think, the way that people think that a stupid apocalypse ending or apocalypse happenstance is scary is infuriating. And I hate when people do that. But I have to go now. So thank you for listening to my rant about horror movies. Try to tune in for the next vlog. I'll make sure it's not too distant from now. And leave a comment on, your favorite horror movies, things about horror movies that you enjoy, things about horror movies that you don't enjoy, and whether or not you watch them or not. Because I know a lot of people don't like to. A lot of people I don't know don't like, or that I know don't like to. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you